what's the actual stress that's put on a parent to make sure that their child has a great holiday season? You know, can y'all touch on that? Because I know y'all are parents and I'm not, so I wanted to.
Yeah.
So what's the actual stress? I think the actual stress is kids seeing other kids with certain things, right? And they see Johnny, he got this, and this. And so, your own kid is gonna feel like I need to have this or that because someone else has it. And so it goes back to Hassan, you mentioned setting expectations. Debbie, you talked about the things that you value. You need to have those conversations with your kids throughout the whole year, right? So that when you get to this certain point when everyone wants these things, no, they already have the mindset that, well, I value the time that I spend with my parents. I know my parents work hard and they're going to get me what they can because they love me more than anything, versus this toy isn't going to, I'm not going to place as much value on this toy because I know it's more important, the hard work and effort and care that my parents give me. And so it's all about giving your kids the right mindset so that they understand the concept of money even before this time comes around, because it's stressful on the parents because you want to be able to provide those things for your kids, but then at the same time you also need to train your kids on how to think about certain things like this and not place the value on certain things, where the most important thing is that time that you guys mentioned, which is priceless.
Well said, Derek.
Well said. And that brings me to something that I remember that my grandmother and grandfather taught me, that when we were young, they didn't have a lot of money. But there was a song, I think it was by either Loretta Lynn or Dolly Parton, about the many colors of my coat, right? Where her mom made her the coat of many colors. And she loved that, and people made fun of her. But that's one of the treasures I still have. I have it on my shelf in my office, of a little car that my grandfather made in his wood shop. So I would challenge people to look at the skills that they have inside themselves, and can you do something that is unique to your kid? My grandmother, she used to make apple crisp for Christmas morning. So I didn't get a gift under the tree, but that was my favorite dish, and it was on the thing every Christmas morning. That was Christmas with hot chocolate. That meant more to me. I still remember that more than half the gifts I got under the tree, right? She would have apple crisp sitting there. Or my other grandma, we did Christmas lights. Got in the car, everybody went Christmas lights, and she would go out and pre-scout where the best lights were. And that's what we did. And I remember those car rides and singing songs more than I remember the gifts that were under the tree, a sweatshirt or a pair of tennis shoes. I still remember the lights and the streets that we went down. So those memories, as you guys were talking about, sometimes it's about the time and the experience more than putting gifts under the tree. And yeah, they've got that peer pressure stuff going on beside them when they're out in the yard and somebody's playing with the nice new toy and they don't have one. But over time, they'll remember that time that you gave to them.
What do you think is best practices for a family who doesn't have much? Do you think it's best to go into the savings account to pool for funds to buy presents and things of that nature? Or do you think it would be best to put it on a credit card and pay that off once funds come back in? What do you think would be like best practices?
Depending on how tight it is and where the economy is and taxes and what their tax outlooks looks like. So if you're going to put it on a credit card, I think that you've got to budget it to where that credit card can be taken care of very quickly in January in a couple of statements. That would be the only way I would say a credit card might help you get through it. Otherwise, I think you got to look at your savings, and then, like we started out, what's your budget? If your budget doesn't have that much in it, well, then creativity comes in. There's a lot you can do. So Hassan, I think what you're doing with your mom at Christmas, we're not doing a lot of Christmas for the grandkids, but we are going to be with them and going to their house and going to do stuff like that. And I've already set up, I got the wiffle ball bats out and stuff, so we can play some wiffle ball in the snow, but we're going to spend quality time with them because we're readjusting our budget. So I think if, you stay in the budget that we talked about, and if you need a little credit card to get over the hump, but you can pay that off in January, because the worst thing is to max that card out, then you're in a whole nother
Yeah.
year of fighting the
Yep.
battle. You're in trouble. But if you can, you want that one special gift that you're going to give your kid, and you need that extra 20, $30 to get over, and you can pay that off in January, I think that would be okay. But if you go, okay, they just told me that I can hammer my credit card. No, that's not what we're saying. You got to have a plan to get past that credit card in January.
For sure.
Right. Well, and Hassan, I'd even offer a couple other suggestions
Okay.
versus savings or tapping the credit card. Because again, I think if families are on a tight budget, especially going into winter when electric bills and stuff are going to be more expensive, groceries are still continuing to go up. I guess my fear as a mom and a grandma is that I would be saying, please just don't just lean back on that credit card, because people have the intent to pay it off. But then when the gas bill comes in and it's, $40 more, all of a sudden there's the $40 you were going to go pay on your credit card. Right.
Makes
And
sense.
so it can be dangerous. It can be a very slippery slope. But that's where hopefully coming in and being able to work with other family members, talking to them about maybe getting some extra support and come in and do a family gift, right? Maybe that's what grandma, or, grandpa, grandma, aunties and uncles, cousins come in and everybody pitches in a few bucks, right? And just make it one present. Because again, it's
Good
really
idea.
about spending the time and truly not getting caught up in saying, I want to provide for my family and buying them stuff that I can't afford, just makes more stress on you as the adult. And you're going to enjoy it less. Your children are going to know you're stressed. And so again, I really think that could be a little dicey. Again, everybody has to do what they believe they need to do, but I know that there's families out there that would help each other. I know my folks would help if I needed it, right? Same thing with, maybe this is where you get together and there's some members of the church that might help do things, right? Again, and there's a lot of different ways that you can have the time and do those things without going over budget. And I think family members would be happy to say, hey, I'd pitch in $5 or $10 if it meant that I didn't have, that, you're not going to go out and you're going to stay strong and stay within your budget and not get so tempted and then put yourself in a bad spot in January.